Now let's take a look at some of questions of binomial distribution. So in this question, X is binomially distributed and the number of trials is 8. As we know, this represents the number of trials. And 1 upon 4 is the probability of success, and we can refer it to as P. Now in part A, we have to find X is equals to 6, or we get 6 successes out of the 8 trials. So we can write it as, in part A, we can write it as, we know that the formula for a binomial distribution is NCX, or we can write it as NCR as well. P to the power R, where R is the number of successes, and Q will be N minus R. So we can write it as 8C6, as we have to find X equals to 6. P is 1 upon 4, so 1 upon 4 to the power 6, and Q will be 3 upon 4, so this will be 3 upon 4 to the power 2. So out of the 8 trials, we need 6 successes and 2 failures. We can substitute this in the calculator and find the probability. In part B, it says find the probability that X is less than or equals to 2. Now, in this case, we'll have to find the probability of 2, the probability of 1, and also the probability of 0. As less than equals to 2 would mean all the possibilities for X is less than or equals to 2. So to find the probability that X is equals to 2, we can write it as 8C2, 1 upon 4 to the power 2, and 3 upon 4 to the power 8 minus 2, which is 6, plus 8C1, 1 upon 4 to the power 1, 3 upon 4 to the power 7. And for probability of 0, we can write it as 8C0, 1 upon 4 to the power 0, and 3 upon 4 to the power 8. We can substitute this in the calculator and add them up to find the probability for X is less than equals to 2. Now in part C, it says X is greater than 0. Now, X is greater than 0 would mean X can take the values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we can find all of these probabilities and add them up, or we can do it the other way around, which is more simpler. We can just find the probability of X is equals to 0 and then subtract it from the total probability, which is 1. And this will be equal to probability of X greater than 0. So to in the previous part, we already wrote down how to find the probability when X is equals to 0. So we can just simply write it as 1 minus 8C0, 1 upon 4 to the power 0, and 3 upon 4 to the power 8. Now next we have a word problem. In this question, it says that there is a 15% chance of rain on any particular day during the next 14 days. Find the probability that during the next 14 days, it rains on exactly 2 days and at most 2 days. Now, whenever we have a question, it is first important to figure out what kind of distribution that is. Now, we know that it is a binomial distribution, as we have a fixed number of trials. We have only 2 possibilities: either it will rain or it will not rain. And the probability of raining is always the same. As it says, there's a 15% chance of rain on any particular day. So first we can write that n is equals to 14. The number of trials in this case is 14 days. The probability of success is 0.15, which means that the probability of failure would be 1 minus 0.15, which will be equals to 0.85. So in part A, when it says find the probability that during the next 14 days it rains on exactly 2 days, we can write it as probability of X is equals to 2 will be 14C2. P is 0.15 to the power of 2 and 0.85 to the power of 12. In part B, it says at most 2 days. Now, at most 2 days basically means that 2 or less. So we can write it as X is less than equals to 2, which means we'll find the probability of 2, the probability of 1, and the probability of 0, and then add them up. So we already found the probability of 2, which is 14C2, 0.15 to the power 2, 0.85 to the power of 12. The probability of raining on only 1 day will be given as 14C1, 0.15 to the power 1, and 0.85 to the power of 11. That will be 13. So it will become to the power of 13. And the probability of raining on 0 days would be 14C0, 0.15 to the power of 0 and 0.85 to the power of 14. We can just plug these values in the calculator and add them up to find the probability for at most 2 days.